You're listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Infinite diversity.
Live long and prosper, and welcome to Infinite Diversity, a Star Trek Universe podcast, here on the BQN Podcast Collective. I'm your host for today, Thad, and joining me as always is my co-host, Chrissy. How are you today?
I'm doing all right. I've been trying to read Temporal Mechanics 101, and I can't get into it. I don't see the point.
Well, I think part of your problem is that it's not actually a book, it's a video.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I put on the subtitles.
Ah, there
reading.
You go.
And how are you doing, Thad?
Feeling little weird. I keep trying to tell people about something important, but I don't think they understand me.
Maybe if you get underwater. Change the pitch or something. Yeah.
Turn into a mermaid? Yeah.
Yeah.
Also joining us today is Abby Sommer, returning from the First Flight podcast. Abby, how are you today?
Well, I have yet to receive a call from Admiral Jellicoe today, so it's been a pretty good day.
That's a good marker any day.
Honestly, I feel bad for Jellicoe because he's just giving regular orders. This is perfectly normal, and Janeway is just constantly not. Every single time he gives an order, and Janeway was like, "Nope, not going to do that."
Nope.
Okay, but this is something I talk to my girls about too. It's not just what you say; it's how you say it.
Yes.
Like, it would have come off as, "I really am sorry, Catherine," instead of those like. It's how he says it. So, anyways, so I'm good.
Yeah, he has no tact, but that's good follow through from when we first met him, where he had no tact, and that's
He's
just
consistent.
who he is.
I'm disappointed that he hasn't said "get it done," because that was like his catchphrase on Chain of Command.
I forgot about that. Oh well. We'll
Season 3.
see him back in season 3. Yeah, he can
there we
get
go.
it done.
That's a reason right there that we need a season 3 of Star Trek Prodigy. By the way, listeners, in case you haven't already figured out, we are not going to be a spoiler-free discussion. We are talking about the first 5 episodes of Star Trek Prodigy Season 2 this week, but we will not be limiting ourselves to making references to the rest of the season. Under the assumption, all 20 episodes came out last week. We have all watched them all. We are assuming most of you have as well, and if you haven't, then you may want to go do that before you listen to us.
Sure.
No judgment. If it's in a couple weeks or a month, that's fine. We'll still be here.
Definitely. That's the great thing about podcasts. You can,
Indeed. Yeah,
just keep it in the
and
queue.
we are diverging from our usual format of 1 episode per episode of Star Trek because, well, we weren't going to drop 20 episodes in a week. And we don't want to go for 20 weeks because by the time we get to like October or November, most of you will not be thinking about Prodigy anymore.
We'll be heading to the other animated show.
Right, and also we'll be
Hopefully.
deep into Lower Decks at that point, so then how do we do that? So we're gonna do this over the course of 5 episodes. This week we're doing the first 5, and then next week will be the next 5, and then the latter half will be split up a little smaller because we want to do 1 episode for the finale.
Yeah, I think it'll be good. There's one big, what one might consider a spoiler that we will be talking about right away because it shows up early. You just don't know it's the spoiler.
Yes. And Abby here will be coming back for the final episode to bookend this, giving her perspective on this show as a mother of the target audience.
Mm-hmm.
It has been so fun. I'm so glad you guys are giving me the opportunity to do this and talk about it. And you'll hear me say, well, my girls said, or this one said, a whole bunch in this, because it's been really fun to get to do this with them.
Well,
Awesome.
It definitely helps when talking about a children's show to have someone who has experience with how children react to the show. Because I liked it, and I think it's great, but I'm not the theoretical target audience anyway.
Well, we will discuss that because this season's a little different.
Yes.
And,
It's definitely scarier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
It's definitely scarier.
Yeah.
It's been a few weeks since we last talked to you. As far as news goes, the ever evolving story of Paramount trying to sell itself changed the deal where Paramount. I believe when we last left off, there was a deal in place where Paramount was going to be sold to Skydance. Since then, that deal was no longer in play, and now, as of this past week, it is back in play. So who knows? Paramount will sell itself around the same time we get a fourth Star Trek movie, and we'll see what happens.
Well, and there's the rumors, too, that now Paramount Plus is still looking to merge with another streamer, and they were talking Peacock, but then that went, and now I heard that it might be HBO Max, so it might be Mount Max or Max Mount, or I believe nothing till, paperwork is signed, so...
Speaking of Paramount Plus, there is some news. All the Star Trek movies are, for the moment, back on Paramount Plus. In 4K remastered goodness, which is great because when they were on Max, they were not the new 4K remasters. They were the older HD versions from the mid-2000s where everyone looks like a wax figure from Madame Tussauds. So it's great that we've got the fancy version back on Paramount Plus.
Yeah. Sounds like they saved that for themselves, which is, I'm done with that. Yeah.
Hopefully they'll stick around for a while, but we'll see. They keep going in and out.
Watch them while you can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Remember when Paramount Plus was the home of all Star Trek?
I don't think they get to say
For
that
like
ever
a month?
again.
Well, no, they don't, as we're about to talk about a show that aired on
Netflix.
not Paramount Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Star Trek Prodigy Season 2 is on Netflix, and using the standard Netflix release model, we got all 20 episodes at once. So I know for me, it was the very first time I had ever binged a new season of Star Trek. I assume it was also the first for you guys. Yeah. And that was definitely a wild ride.
It was fun. It was so... I mean, I have no access to screeners, and so I got to do it with the fandom that day. And my podcast partner Chris and I actually lined up and got to live text each other episode 4 through 13 in the middle, and then life got in the way, and we had. But it was like nothing I'd ever done with Trek before, and it was so nice to see people posting and saying things that weren't spoilery but were excited continuously.
I still have not seen anyone spoil Wesley Crusher on Twitter, which amazes me.
Wow.
I've seen Bribble a little bit here and there, but that's by no means a major thing. But for those hardcore people who are going to complain, I love Bribble too. I am going to visit a friend who I'm commissioning Bribble.
If you're the kind of hardcore person who thinks literally saying anything about it is a spoiler, then you should stay off social media until you watch it.
100%.
Yep.
I realize I'm preaching to the choir because none of you are listening to this, but
it's been interesting because this is the first season that's come out since I took Twitter off my phone, and so I did not get the social media experience. I was just a couple of people posted on Facebook, and our Discord has been crazy.
Oh man, the social media experience has been great. It's been overwhelmingly positive, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. If only I could just have that and not the rest of Twitter, but that's fine.
Well, and honestly, like I'm in Twitter, I'm in some Discord feeds, I'm a little bit on Blue Sky here and there. Wherever I've seen it and found it, I feel like people have been really respectful and kind. And if they are, like, we've got fabulous Yerk out there who's doing all of the details of everything, but he's hashtagging and labeling everything. So if you don't want to see it, you can avoid it. And that's what I think people have been really good about. Like if you if you're going to, and at this point it's been, I feel like go for it. Like it's almost a week at this point. Yes, stay off.
By the time this episode comes out, it'll have been a week.
Exactly. Yeah. So go for it. I mean, the podcasts are dropping, YouTube videos are dropping. It's up to you after a certain point. And you know what? I want the minutia now. Bring it on. Bring on everybody's big reactions. Bring on all the things you noticed in the background, because that's fun too. And I think it's been fun, like in the places where you have people who you can talk to about it. All the little pieces that have come out. This is an Easter egg bonanza this season. Like there are so many little things put in there. I love it. I love it. I know I didn't catch all of them, even in my multiple watch throughs already. So I can't wait to keep watching and keep finding all the layers of stuff that they went in there.
And I know Aaron Waltke, writer and executive producer, has been tweeting a lot about all sorts of stuff. And he said there have been several Easter eggs that people have not found yet.
Yeah. Well, just last night, he confirmed that in Janeway's ready room on her shelf with all her little trinkets and stuff, the red circle thing is the seal of Bloomington, Indiana. Like,
amazing.
It's I know.
That's cool. So
that took a few days, but how cool is that? Like that's I would never have figured that out. Thank you, internet. So yeah, there's 1,000 things like that. And Aaron confirmed, yep, that was a little one in there. I'm like, oh my God, we haven't even found half of them, I'm sure.
I love it. We'll obviously we'll talk about this in the last episode, but I feel like the last episode just, pitches people right up to start on the into Picard if they're so inclined. And it's just beautiful. Yeah.
I'm itching to watch Picard again.
And we'll talk about this more in the last episode, but this has been bugging me ever since I watched it, so I'm just going to make an aside here. That's wild. To have, to set up the end of a kid's show, to have it set up a show that's rated TVMA.
Yeah.
Well, maybe, yeah. I think, notoriously I have no concept of what is and isn't appropriate for children, but I still think the way I would handle that is like, let's watch TNG first, if they have.
Right.
It's like, okay, so this is leading into a story, but you don't have the most important parts of what that story is going to be.
Yeah.
So let's do that first. And then, 3 years from now, when we've done with that, then...
Well, and that's what I tell my girls a lot. Like we have watched a lot of Trek, all the different series for the most part. They accidentally caught part of Picard where Raffi and Worf take off the Ferengi's head, and that was accidental.
Nice.
And then we had to do some Ferengi rehab, because between that and what was it, Damon Nandi in the first season of Prodigy, they thought all Ferengi were bad, so we had to go to DS9 and hang out with Quark and Rum and Nog for a while. But
that's a good problem to have.
It is a good problem to have. But I tell them a lot. I say, you know what? There's a lot of things in here that you'll see me be really excited about, but some of them are in grown-up Star Trek. Star Trek you're not ready for yet. I will watch it with you. I said, but it's too scary, or it's too big, or it's too grown-up. And most of the time they're okay with it. And I'm like, here's the Cliff's Notes. And when we get there, we'll get there. And they've been fine with it. And I mean, you kind of have to. You can't absorb 900 plus hours of stuff in a child's attention span anyway. So I think that's part of it. And a lot of these kids that are watching now, hopefully this will spur a love of Trek that will have them start that journey, and it will, when they get to Picard, they'll be like, oh, look at that. So maybe it's their way of trying to create long-term fans. I mean, we all watched when we were kids and got sucked in even to the stuff that didn't make sense or wasn't scary. So
there was no Star Trek that was geared to adults only when we were kids.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true.
There were beheadings, but you never saw them.
Yeah.
Well,
one I can think of.
The little Cation beheaded Dreadnought in the first season back on Tars Lamora.
Well,
like,
that's
and all
because it's
you
a
saw
robot.
That's a robot.
Yeah. He's pretty scary.
And I guess
though.
if you're gonna go by that, Data lost his head too, but
multiple, yeah.
Yeah.
I think like the scariest, or not scary, but like the most gruesome thing I can think of are two instances in TNG. There's the end of Conspiracy when they phaser Remick and you see his skull with the eyes and then similarly.
That looks so fake now, though.
Now,
kids
yes.
would be too bothered by that. Yes, no, right, but
to us back then, it did not look fake.
No. Sorry, I interrupted you.
And then
is your next one Genesis?
Oh, I hadn't even thought of that, but yes. But similarly, Genesis. Like, I mean, Proto-Klingon Worf still probably gives me nightmares.
When he sprays
not as much as
Beverly.
Spider Barkley.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Worf, open your mouth.
And everyone in the audience is going, no, don't do it.
But no, I was thinking loud as a whisper when the interpreters get killed. Similarly, you see their skeleton, you see them like dissolve away, and
It's notable
pretty
that both
rough
of
at
those
the end of
are
the Ghost
early
Toys,
on.
though, too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's true.
But if you're
She
But you
goes
don't
away
see
in late.
skeleton in that one. I
Oh,
don't
her,
think.
yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe
I would
you
have to
do.
go back
I
and
can't
watch.
remember.
I think you do at one
Okay.
point. Either way.
Yeah, I don't remember. But
Either way, this season of Prodigy in points, like my girls and I are partway through it, right? We just finished the first half. The Loom are scary. Like there are parts of this that are legit scary. Essentia is scary at times because she's scary because she's right there and you already know her and you know what she's willing to go to. And it's been interesting watching my girls. Like they'll clutch at certain points, but then they'll also cheer and they're having big emotional reactions, which is exactly what you want from something like this. And then they think about it. And I had to promise them before we started, I'm like, all the main characters that you know and love are going to be okay in this. There's going to be parts that are scary. There are going to be parts that are scared, that are sad. There are going to be parts where you don't know what's going to happen and they get separated and it seems like everything is ending. But I promise you at the end, it's going to be okay. And that's, that's reassurance. And we've talked about, stories aren't good stories if there isn't any of that other stuff in there. You need a problem. You need an adversary. You need something to overcome, something that makes you have a big feeling that you can then have the other big feeling after. And that's what makes a good story. That's why you want to keep watching. And Prodigy sure does that.
Yeah. There were a few times this season where I was like, wow, are they going to introduce a death into this kind of Trek, into kids' Trek? Because I like, oh, that was close, but
well, they blew up the lady who took Gwyn to Solom in the shuttle. She's dead.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised about
right
that.
Away.
Yeah. Before we completely step away from the moving it into Picard, I think one thing that and Abby, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, as I said, but I think I would be okay with showing kids Children of Mars after this. The little short.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything in that. I mean, there's emotional upheaval because both of those girls lose a parent. But it's not like it's there's not the I was going to say there's not the violence level. Again, not bothering me, but yeah.
I actually kind of wish. Again, we'll talk about this more in a couple weeks, but I actually kind of wish we had seen a cameo of the two girls from Children of Mars.
That would have been cool.
That was my first reaction, and then I went, wait, no, they're not at the academy. They're at their own little, high school.
School thing.
So
yeah, we still could have seen a cutaway to it, even.
True. But, yeah. Anyway, so back to the first episode.
Back
Sorry to waylay us.
First episode of Prodigy Season 2, Into the Breach, Part 1.
Dear friends.
All right, so as the parent here, I'm just going to say that my girls absolutely adored that the first of our crew members we saw was Murph. And Murph, just being Murphy and be like, yeah, I took all those people out. What? That was hard. They every time Murph is on screen, Prodigy is better for them. And I mean, I remember back in Chicago when Kate Mulgrew was asking all the kids at the mic, who's your favorite character? And they were all saying Murph. And she's like, why? Oh, yeah. Because Murph is just exactly geared towards kids. They love Murph. They love watching Murph change. They love Murph like doing all these amazing things. The fact that Murph said pew, pew, pew in this season and in the little previews that we saw, they cannot get over that. Like they've been pew pew pewing everything. Like Murph is the kid. Like they're all kids, but this is like the kid in the show. And to see Murph growing into himself and all the things that happen with Murph this season, like what a perfect way to start. You're grabbing those kids right away. Here's Murph. We're back into it.
Yep.
Well, I like that we saw a look at how they're all doing too. Like all of the kids, where are they? What are they doing? How are they working? Rock is so smart, which I just
oh my god, yes,
love. Like I've always liked Rock, but Rock might be my favorite after this season.
Yeah.
Like, she is glorious, and the fact that she's young, she's female, she's non-traditionally sized, and she's so smart and loves science, and she's like their moral compass at times. The fact this whole first chunk, her not wanting to get in trouble because she's got a goal and a focus, that resonated so deep with me and with my older daughter, because that's her. Like she's the kid where you go to a food truck festival and people are parking on the grass next to a no parking sign, and she goes, why did they do that? That says no parking. Are the cops going to come? Like she is Rock. And I think that's a type of kid you don't see a lot portrayed in a positive way. That kid is usually the kid that's annoying, but this was done in such a way that she is giving them the push to really think about this and think about the long-term consequences, which is not really usually a strong suit for small people. And, but at the same time, she's supporting her friends. She's doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done. And you see that relationship, how she is interacting with them as that positive force for keeping them a bit more on track. Doesn't always work, but she's trying. And oh man. And she figured out how to stop Tribbles from replicating and got a Larkin shout out in there. So hello.
Got a what shout out?
Larkin from Trouble with Tribbles.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Earpiece got out. No, not.
Nope, you're good.
Not you.
Yeah. Or not Trouble with Tribble. The short trek with Tribble. Trouble with Edward. Sorry.
Yes.
Yes. The complete miscasting of H. John Benjamin, but that's a whole other. People have heard about that already. Anyway.
The only scene I actually like in that one is when he's wandering the halls in his underwear asking what's going on.
Yes.
Like, that is perfect H. John Benjamin. And then the rest is just sort of, what is happening here?
When his idea is eating them, that's a pretty good scene too. Looking around the table.
Yeah, you're right.
But he should have been. Okay,
there's a lot of things. There are a lot of, like, what if we make them brain damaged?
Anyway,
but how cool is it that despite whatever you think about that short trek, they are setting up Tribbles in the first 5 minutes of this episode, and how that comes back later on.
They're Chekhov's Tribbles.
Oh yeah.
They
are.
Exactly. And I am just stating
as opposed to the literal Tribbles that Chekhov had in Trouble. Yeah.
There you go. But my household now is going to count seconds by 1 Tribble, 2 Tribble, 3 Tribble, like they do later on, because it's way better than Mississippi.
Easy to pronounce too.
Exactly.
Yeah, all the characters are absolutely being true to themselves in these scenes where we see all of them. Because Murph is doing his security stuff where he's kicking ass and being Murph. Rock Talk is doing fancy science stuff. Jankum is trying really hard to fit in with the engineers.
And the one person with whom he should be himself doesn't work.
Yeah.
Zero is there watching people being able to touch and wishing they could do that. And Dow is, of course, skipping class to watch starships.
But you know what? If he wasn't, it wouldn't feel like Dal. And as much as I sat there and went, oh my God, Dal, how hard did you work to get here? Go to class.
I know, right?
It wouldn't be Dal if he didn't have that Dalishness. Like later on when he talks to Gwyn on the pad and he looks at her and goes, "No, I didn't read it. Explain it to me like I am a Dal." Like I love that line because that is so him. And we've spent 20 episodes getting to know him and watching him grow, but he is still a kid. And he is still Dal, and that is still what Dal would be doing. And he's looking at the ships and dreaming and wishing like he has his entire life. And I love his, well, they're not as fast as me. Like that is Dal. It is the perfect place for us to find him, even though it is frustrating. Like, go to class, Dal.
Yeah, and Dal has, it had reached this point by the end of the first season, but it isn't the point now where it's just his character and it's just part of him, and it's not just him being ridiculously obnoxious and me wanting to throttle him like it was in the first half of season 1.
That's teenagers, though.
Yeah.
It's accurately portrayed. So,
Sure.
and that's what I always tell people. I'm like, you know what? You're supposed to find him annoying and impulsive and abrasive because that's what teenagers are. And you wouldn't have the journey. Like, you have to make mistakes and go through this and learn it. And that's another thing that I will say that since I get to do the bookends of this season with you, one of the lessons that I really liked, or the themes of this, is mistakes are okay. You can come back from them. And you see that throughout this whole season. And it starts at the beginning. I mean, these first 5 episodes, there's a plenty of mistakes that are made, but you can come back from them. And it's normal and okay to make mistakes. And that is such a lesson for kids. Like, I love that that is a through line of this season.
Absolutely. I will say, just as a sort of funny thing, me being a bit of a musical theater nerd, Commander Tysus, Janeway's Andorian first officer, is voiced by Daveed Diggs, who, if you don't know, was Thomas Jefferson in Hamilton.
And Lafayette.
And Lafayette, yes.
Pick your half of the musical.
Yes. And every time they get in trouble and he is speaking sternly to them, I'm just picturing that scene from Hamilton where Jefferson is going, "You're never gonna be president now." I'm thinking I'm picturing Tysus going, basically, "You're never gonna be officers now."
I did the same thing, Pat. I loved you. Like, oh, do you see how red I got? I'm just like, yeah, that was me.
I only watched Hamilton once. It was lovely, but I don't know it that well. So,
that's fair.
But that's cool.
It's I also enjoy musical theater, and it's one of the 4th of July traditions for me now is to watch Hamilton on the 4th of July.
I like that.
Nice.
So, yeah, it's fun. All right, so if we're talking about connections to other series, okay, so we've seen everybody, they got their little messages, and then here comes the scene that we've all seen for almost a year now, right? Like, I remember this scene dropping, it must have been Vegas last year, because I was in the woods, right? Like, I'm in the woods. We're always in the woods the first 2 weeks of August. I remember going into town to get ice and supplies or whatever, and my phone just went, and it's everybody going, "Abby, where are you? Why aren't you responding?" And I remember watching the scene and being so exciting. And what I didn't realize was my girls remembered this a lot. Like, when we started rewatching previews and the season and all of that, they were like, "Where's that doctor guy? Where's their news shuttle?" And I'm like, that's cool that some of those things stuck with them as much as they stick with us. But that whole scene, oh my goodness, the connection and the Doc walking out, and if you know the numbers of your starships, you get a little hint before he says anything.
Oh yeah.
That scene is beautiful.
Yeah, you should have heard it. I saw that scene on stage. Well, no, I wasn't on stage, but I saw them play it on stage at Vegas. And when you saw the number on the shuttle, there were definitely noises from the audience.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, I mean, there's so many connections here. I mean, we glossed over the fact that they're going to see these Nova Squad, Nova Squad, called Nova Squad, not Red Squad, which I think is cool because, again, look, here's a mistake you can come back from. one group's mistake does not have to change what we call this or the honor of this group. Like right there, that's something that I've been thinking about throughout. And I love that.
Also, arguably, Red Squad ended up making bigger mistakes than Nova Squad did. Okay,
fair. Fair. Mm-hmm. But I just how cool is that we get that back in here, and Andalorian who never has a line, which is also amazing.
My god, yes.
He does have one line in a later episode.
Does he?
Like, yeah, he says like one word.
I thought it was just a grunt, just like a noise, but I could be wrong about that. So I will have. And
I thought it was a female.
I think it is. I think you're right.
Is it?
I think.
100%.
I think they do use female pronouns for her.
Yeah.
Interesting. Ooh, while we're talking pronouns, I would like to just highlight the fact that with Zero being they, my kids are self-correcting to that now when they accidentally say he.
Good.
And it's, I mean, we do that in general in my household, but it's normal to them. And I love that. I love that. And I love that that's going to be something. Exactly. It should be normal. So that's something that I love that it's in there, and it's never been a big deal. It never is a big deal. And it's just one more piece of the diversity. So that's cool. I loved it when I saw my little one do that.
I always feel like I'm like a little bit of a bad person when I find myself correcting myself on that. I'm like, oh, I should just know that. But yeah.
Well, it's not the same as like with Adira.
I have had to correct myself when talking about Adira,
Oh.
and I have had to too. But I don't think the voice actor is.
I believe Angus Emery is a he/him.
Yeah,
I believe.
So that's where I explain the dichotomy in my head if I need to explain it. But
I also think that the ages we are, we didn't grow up with this being a normal thing.
No,
and the whole thing with they in our heads being normalized as a plural as opposed to a singular makes it something that is not instinctual to us. But I love the fact that it will be for my children because I want it to be instinctual in me, and it isn't just because I think of how and when I grew up. But I love that, and I'm trying. And I mean, that's all anyone can ever do. We make mistakes, we come back from them, right?
Yeah. It reminds me of, like, I think our generation will still maybe be a little bit surprised to see openly gay couples in public, even though it's been perfectly normalized, in a way that my mother will always comment if she sees an interracial couple. Like, oh, that's nice, and it's like, it's not a matter of like it being a good or a bad thing. It's just like, I was normalized to this not being a thing.
Right.
And I'm happy that it is.
With this not being a thing. And it's a good thing that it is now. Yeah. But it's like you acknowledge it in a way that's more than just acknowledging other things. But
that's progress. That's change.
Yes. Yes. And those are good things.
Wow, I just looked up Angus Emery. He's older than I thought. He's 29.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have guessed that either. I'm a terrible judge of age, though.
No.
Especially based on voices. I mean,
yeah.
That makes it a little tough.
It's just it's interesting, like because you've got you've got some of the actors are much older, and then you have Riley Ellis Rocky playing Rock Talk, who is a literal child, and that's cool.
She is such a positive light in the world, too. Like, if you've ever seen her interviewed, and her parents, too.
I got to meet her at a con last year or 2 years ago. No, it was last year. Yeah, because it was I went. It was a con that I went to in February of 2023. Wilson Cruz and Riley Ellis Rocky were both guests, and both of them talked about how excited they were for the next season of the show that they were about to start filming.
Wasn't that the one? It was right after her father was on too. So
yes, yeah, and he was there too.
Known that her father was going to be on. Yeah, that's cool.
Well, if you ever get a chance to speak with her again, please let her know that she is a glowing example of an amazing Star Trek character to kids and adults alike, and that I would love to give her a very, if it's okay with her, hug for the joy that she has brought my family just by being herself. And my kids love when they see the voice actors. She's like just a little older than they are. That's so aspirational. It's so aspirational.
And I just really love what she does as with the voice of Rock Talk. Like there's the thing Rock Talk does when she gets so excited, where her voice goes deep, and it's I love it so much.
Yeah, I agree too. And when she gets exasperated, that is true kid exasperation coming out in that voice. Like I love it.
Oh yeah.
So so if we're talking about connections and Rock Talk, all right, I wore my Cetacean Ops shirt because her joy when she walks in, she goes, "Did you say?" And there's the pause. Cetaceans, like, it's obvious now that the people who are making Star Trek grew up with Star Trek in the 90s, and we all latched on to that little fact, and they are making it a reality in so many important, vital, not just like one-off ways. I love it.
A bunch of little nerds all reading the Star Trek TNG technical manual got super excited. Yeah.
Exactly. Between the fact that there was that and the rubber ducky room in Lower Decks a couple seasons ago, like my childhood dreams have just come to fruition, and it is glorious.
And I'm sure you saw the where they said that Cetacean Ops is going to be in Strange New Worlds season 3.
Yes.
I forgot about that too. Yeah.
These are the people who loved Trek in their youth like we did, bringing that stuff up and making it the part that it couldn't have been then because of budgets and technical reasons and just people being closed-minded. And now everyone coming, Cetacean Ops, we're all going to do that now. Like, thank you. All we need is a Xindi Aquatic in there at some point, and if that happens, you will hear me time zones away with my shirt. I might cause a burn of joy if there's a Xindi Aquatic somewhere in New Trek. Like
we did get Xindi Reptilians in season 1.
We did, and that was amazing.
We got what they said were Xindi insectoids in Discovery that looked very different from how we saw them in Enterprise, but that's okay.
Yes, it is.
So I'm hoping, I do love, though, I 100% adore that the whale is named Jillian.
Oh, that's the best. The best. You should have seen like the text that were going back and forth between Chris and me when that happened. We were just like, it was just a joy explosion.
Yeah. I missed that on the first round because I don't know, I was not paying that close because it's just a real quick. She calls her that, and it's that's beautiful. And have your kids seen Voyage Home?
No, not yet. We haven't done any.
Now you've got a perfect to show them Voyage Home, including the later with Majel putting the headband on. Yeah.
Yep. That was
also the graphic in Temporal Mechanics 101 when they're talking about Slingshot on the Sun, you see the Klingon bird of prey.
Yep. Well, I've already told them, I said, when we're done with this season, there's a lot of other things that we're going to go into and watch, and not just our favorites like we usually do. We can still do that because Lord knows we all do, but there's a lot now that opens up because of it. So, which is so cool.
Yeah.
Voyage Home was a staple in my family because it's the only Star Trek movie my mother likes.
Oh, well, hey, go with it.
And the only episode she likes is Trouble with Tribbles, so you know.
That's all right. You know what? If you've got to watch things. Exactly. There definitely. Before we leave the Xindi real quick, though, in the picture of Chakotay's crew that we see later on in the season, there's a Xindi Arboreal, or at least what we took as a Xindi Arboreal in the First Flight family. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I will talk about how much I loved the explanations we got for things, because you're talking about the temporal mechanics thing. You know, the mobile emitter is explained just enough for what you would need to know. Okay, turbolifts versus elevators. I think this is the first time that's ever been explained.
It's been in the technical manuals, but yes.
Well, yeah. And there's other random stuff too that I made note of along the way, but I don't remember.
I would also like to congratulate Prodigy for showing a sane way to do turbolifts inside the starship.
Yes,
I've thought of that too.
Without a lot of wasted empty space for no reason. Yeah.
Well, okay. I would also like to call out the fact that, and this is just me, but throughout all of the season, the wonderful Star Trek food that we see in here, these kids eat so many different things and so many like teen type choices. There's a lot of burgers and pasta and grilled cheese and that kind of stuff. But when you're watching for Star Trek food, like I do, if anyone's ever listened to me anywhere, you've probably figured out that I do
strawberry,
this. But
kiwi, and the other thing. Yeah.
I have to go back and freeze frame looking for the strawberry and the kiwi later on at the feast with Zero. But yeah, the food in this was so Star Trek because it was weird, but it was also normal. And I love that it wasn't always the same. Like you could have had them eating the same. And you do see a couple people eat burgers more than once, but you know what? They're teenagers. Like
that's normal.
Exactly. So I enjoyed that little bit. And I enjoyed seeing how some of the things we've seen in other series pop up. Like I didn't see the strawberry or the kiwi yet, but I'm sure they're there. So I just have to find them. And when I do, I will be sending them your way for sure.
Yeah. So, on the note of food, we have some unspoken character development there with Rock Talk, because in the beginning of season 1, when they first start using the food replicators, she only wants to make the Nutrigoop that they had on Tars Lamora because it was the only food she had ever eaten. And now we see her eating burgers and other things, so I think that's a nice little silent development there.
I completely agree.
That's an important one for kids to see, having been a picky eater, having been around picky eaters.
Yes.
Yeah.
As someone who has a kid who eats like 7 things right now, and I'm like, well, look, Rock Talk is eating that garlic bread. We could try some garlic bread.
I recognize that picky eaters are picky in different ways, but I'm thinking I was an extremely picky eater as a kid, but one of the things that I would, eat a mountain of was garlic bread.
Yeah. No, I tell you what, that kind of thing is important, and I can tell from my own experience. I'm the only person who, as a child, didn't like pizza. Like, I would not touch pizza. No.
My little one won't touch pizza either.
You're not the only person.
Okay. Well, most people, I say that, and they're like, what's wrong with you? The thing that got me to eat pizza, and feel free to laugh here, I laugh at it myself, Ninja Turtles.
That's awesome.
That was why I started eating pizza. So, I mean, you never know what kind of influence that's going to have. Yeah.
There were years when I was a small child where I would only eat ice cream if it had melted.
Huh. Okay.
Did you have sensitive teeth?
Yeah, I guess so.
Texture, maybe.
But yeah, it was a texture thing, I guess. Yeah. I would wait until the ice cream had melted, and then I would eat the liquid ice cream. Yeah.
Did you eat other cold stuff? Because I know there's a lot of kids who don't like really, really cold stuff because baby teeth are thinner. They have more sensitivity to hot and cold. So a lot of times that's it. So child development right there.
Yeah.
But, okay, if we're going to talk about things that people eat or come out of their mouths or something, can we talk about how... All right, that was a bad segue, but at least they got a giggle. Because, all right, Murph drool. Let's talk about Murph drool for a moment. Okay, so
is this the first time we've seen Murph drool?
No, when they find the bunks on the original Protostar, Murph goes up on top and drools down, and then Zero moves bunks because of it. So Murph does drool, and we realize this, and we've seen it before. But okay, first of all, that's a lot of drool for a short period of time. Maybe when melanoid slime worms get anxious, they don't get dry mouth, they get goo mouth. I mean, that's my headcanon right there. Props to Murph for yanking them all up there and Zero floating them up there as fast as they did. But that's a lot. Close your mouth, Murph. Swallow. Like, that's a lot of drool.
So maybe I need to watch this a little more closely, because like in the thing with the bunk when he was sleeping, I got that was drool. But any other time we've seen that, I figured it was he's just drippy. Like he's gooey and he's drippy. So it's not necessarily drool, but actually like
just him.
Bits of Murph, Or maybe like the equivalent of sweat or something.
Maybe sweat. I mean, we see him leave goo when he turns into the cocoon in season 1.
Right.
And there's all that goo. Right. But I don't know. Does he massively self-regenerate gooness in there?
Well, he does eat. We know that.
Right.
So,
true. Yeah. I don't know. Either way. And thank goodness nobody looked up.
Yeah, we'll not quibbling with what it was. Just, yes, I right. Yeah, that was a great. See, this is part of the thing too, because like starting out, we're like, oh yeah, here's everything that's happening right at the beginning, and then it's all over the place. So that's like it's okay for this because it's timey-wimey. I love how that little moment from Doctor Who has become a touch point in everything. You know,
Yes.
That's just so fun.
As a Whovian as well, I appreciate that a great deal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and Doctor Who this past season maybe sort of kind of canonized that Star Trek is in their universe. Maybe
Yeah, we should visit them. Oh, I love that.
Yeah, we
line.
should visit them. And I'm like, really? Could you? Okay. I'm down with that.
I have not seen any of this season yet.
It is so good.
I have heard nothing but good things. It's just
so
been
good.
like insanity. So yeah.
Yeah. 15 is right up in my top 3 Doctors now. Like, I really, really enjoy this portrayal.
But I still find myself thinking about Dot and Bubble. Just
yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That is some hard hitting. Yes. And you'll never watch it the same way you did the first time, but it's okay because it's a whole different experience every time after, which is incredible. So, Chrissy, when you get to that one, be ready to like marinate for a while.
Okay. Dot and Bubble. All right.
Dot and Bubble. It's about halfway through.
Okay. Is the season over now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Till Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, of course. And that I did see the Christmas. Oh, that was so good. Yeah.
It gets better.
I can't imagine it not.
Good costumes on that show, too.
And also, Chrissy, there's an episode where the villain is literally capitalism.
Yes.
Yay!
It's amazing.
And it's my enthusiasm of things like that that's going to cause me to be early on the gallows after November, so that's fine.
Yeah, well, we'll have good company.
Yeah, well. You'll have company.
Yeah.
You'll have plenty of
I will.
company.
I'll have good company.
Indeed.
Anyway.
All right, so back to Prodigy. Should we move on to episode 2? Did we have more for 1? Because 1 and 2 are together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we didn't mention about how Zero, the doctor is a fine, how did he say it? He's a good doctor, but he's a terrible actor. Something like that. Or he's something, but he's a terrible actor. And the thing about the imaginary Shuttle Bay 3.
Yeah.
I love that. Absolutely love that.
Well, I think it's funny because he's such a bad actor that he lets it slip. But then later on, they're talking about the secret and, the mission in Shuttle Bay 3 out in the middle of the hallway. So this is partially plot and partially just people being people. And it's hard to keep a big secret.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was cool. And then Infinity, good name for a
time ship,
time traveling vessel. The only thing better is if they would have, they should have named it after the guy who created Doctor Who. I can't think of what his name is. The original, like going back to the 50s. But anyway, that would have been the only better name I could think of. But
obviously it would not have hit because all of us are like, oh yeah, there was a guy.
Yeah, so maybe that's it. But
I can't think of the guy. The only person involved in the early days of Doctor Who I can think of is Verity Lambert, the producer. But I can't think. I don't know who created it.
Sidney Newman. Okay, that doesn't.
That sounds right.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe it should have been the first Doctor. The actor
just called it the
Hartnell.
Hartnell.
The Hartnell.
Oh, that would have been fun.
Yeah.
That would have been.
Anyway, so and then we get that back and forth because we don't see Gwen until the end. We know she's off on her diplomatic assignment, and I love I don't know what to call it, the teenage flirtation, whatever it is that's going on between Doll and Gwen, because it's not really they're not like dating, but
they're closer than just friends, because you see later on they're in that a couple times.
They're in that
in between,
close that awkward teenage, like we know something's here but we haven't defined it yet stage.
Yeah, and we're not quite old enough to just like.
And when Dal tries to define it, the call drops.
Yeah. Oh my God, that was so sweet. But
I like how he just gets increasingly more flustered and more embarrassed as he goes on because he thinks she's just being quiet.
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm putting myself out here.
Yeah. Being really vulnerable, but we've all been there.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Oh, absolutely. What I love as we go forward in the season is that seems to be mirrored by what's going on with Janeway and Chakotay.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that as a JC shipper, okay, because it's that, like, we don't know what to do with each other. We don't know how to go from one aspect of this relationship to another, and it's beautiful. You know, so yeah.
But they are totally together in the mirror universe.
Yeah, that was
that put out that Akuchi Moya is their safe word.
Yes, yeah, I retweeted that. That was amazing.
I laughed.
No, I think that was Jeremiah from the Captain Couch podcast.
Beautiful.
Oh my god, I was like, that is such a niche joke, but everyone who gets it is going to laugh so hard. Like that was beyond perfect. Beyond perfect.
That makes one of my notes at the end of these at the end of the outline even a little more funny, but.
Excellent.
If you when we get to the last episode we're talking about, you'll see the note. Yeah. It's only mentioned in passing, but the ship she's on is a Sacagawea, which I love. That's
great.
A perfect, you know, a woman going back to her people. Thankfully, this time without things like smallpox and you know, a French fur trader quasi husband, but you know, yeah. So that's really cool. It was good positioning on that one.
Speaking of ship names and such, Voyager A is a Lamar class ship.
Yes,
named for Hedy Lamarr.
Yes, who is awesome, by the way, in so many ways. And like, if you have not researched or read up on her, people who are listening to this, that is a deep dive in history that is 100% worth it. She's incredible.
I don't think I've done a history with Szilagyi's about her.
I was just going to ask.
Oh, you should.
That's
100%.
I can't believe I haven't.
100%.
Oh, my favorite line of hers is it doesn't take much to be beautiful. All you have to do is stand still and look stupid. And yeah. Okay, that's
Well, and I like how we see Gwyn, who, she chose to do this. She chose to go to Solum and try to make peace and do things that will make her people more open to the wider universe. And she's still unbelievably nervous when they're, her pilot is saying, well, you've read that book more than Picard about First Contact. Like, come on. And I think it's interesting because she knows, like, this is First Contact, but it's also not First Contact, but it kind of is. And like, she beams down right in the middle of the public square because at that point, like, who cares? Like, we're coming and we're going to tell you all this. So like, hey, but it's nice to see. And I think it's a really good example for kids, too, to show people who are doing big, bold, brave things. You can still know it's the right thing to do, be excited about it, have studied and prepped and been ready, and you can still be nervous, and that's okay, and that's normal. Like, if you're not a little nervous before doing something really big, then it probably... It doesn't mean as much as you think it did. Like, big things that mean a lot make you feel nervous too. And that's a hard lesson for kids to learn. The mix of emotions. It is very rarely just one emotion you feel at a time. So to add that in there and to see Gwyn, who is so quick and so self-capable, to be nervous like that is really powerful.
Absolutely.
It's this would have been a good place to have a Discovery reference with Saru because it was the same kind of a First Contact.
We do get a Discovery reference this season, though.
I have a feeling that as we go through more, I'm guessing there's going to be more that we discover, because there's been, like, Aaron Walke's been out there going,
discover next.
I didn't even mean that. I'm just cool like that. He's been saying they have been putting in, there are multiple callbacks to every iteration of Trek in this season. Yeah. So we just haven't found them yet.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean,
for sure.
The fact that they've said it's been a long road twice in this season got my little Enterprise loving heart going, yes, that's deliberate, right? And it is.
Yeah. Oh yeah. How could it not be?
Exactly.
I mean, really. And I did appreciate that the Vulcan who becomes part of their crowd is Majel, That's
Yes.
just a beautiful
Yes.
little piece there.
I talked to my girls a little bit about that and went through the history. And when they realized that Majel Barrett is Luoxana, which they love Luoxana. Like Cost of Living is a big episode in our house. They really like it. They end arguments with the higher, the fewer.
I was about to say, how often do you have to hear that?
Oh, but it's great because it works. The other person always just laughs and then things get better. But when they realized that connection, that was even cooler. And like Vulcans are big around here because I'm big on Vulcans. And like yesterday we're driving home from somewhere and my little one's in the backseat practicing her Vulcan hand so she can do it with both hands. So when they realized that it was, I know she's adorable, but when they realized that Majel is for Majel, who's for Luoxana, and all this, it like blew their little minds. They're like, whoa, really? Yeah, look at that.
But also, your kid practicing the Vulcan hands just takes me back, because when I was a kid, I could do it just fine with my left hand. Immediately. No problem. I couldn't with my right. And I practiced every day for like a couple months until I could do it.
That's awesome.
I used to be able to do both of them, and then I broke my ring finger on my left hand, and it doesn't move anymore. And so, like, I have to like physically move it because it just doesn't anymore. But I still got my dominant hand, so we're good.
Well, that's the correct hand for it anyway. So you're
yes,
good.
Exactly, exactly. So
you just can't do the double-handed sarcastic Vulcan salute.
I know. Trust me, I've thought about that more than I probably should have as an adult with other things to think about. But. All right, are we sliding into 2 now?
Like, I think we can get into the second episode, yes. Okay, an hour into this recording, we can get into the second 25-minute episode, yes.
Okay, however, we had news and stuff in there. So.
Yeah, we had some other stuff we were talking about. Yeah,
I think the last 4 will go a little more quickly than the first one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, because you had to set up so much in the first one. And that's, I really like that, first of all, this season in general is being honest about the fact that they have 2-part stories, and that some of these... Yes, they are legit. Like last season, there were ones that felt more like 2-part stories that didn't have titles that said it's a 2-part story. And I think some of that is network, some of that is how they wanted this to be presented. They was still airing on Nickelodeon. Like there was a lot of reason for that. But for this one, they're just like, no, this is one big story. We need a full like 44 minutes to do this one. And I like that. And I like that because for kids too, I think it helps them see it as the flow of a story and the natural kind of like arc of that, and as a chunk. And the names of these episodes, like Into the Breach, I love how that calls back so much to us, but it also opens up a discussion with kids who are coming across these the first time. Like that's been amazing. Like they're asking about titles, my girls. They're like, is this one like something else? Is this one like something else? So like when we watched in Truth There Is No Beauty, and Beauty
Is There in Beauty No Truth?
Yes. And I was like, well, this is because of this episode. And my little one looks at me and she goes, Mom, I don't think that title makes sense either way, but I'm okay with it because it sounds pretty. And I was like, yeah, well, artistic language, some flourish in here, but.
Well, we got that with episode 3.
I admit that I am out of touch enough that I did not get the reference in A Tribble Called Quest. I had to look it up to find out that there's a band called A Tribe Called Quest.
My husband was all over that one. He was like, really? That's what they named the episode? And I'm like, yeah, isn't it great? And he's like, you're a dork. And I'm like, I know, that's why you love me.
Yeah. I could not tell you any of their music, but I've heard of it. There's probably some really well-known song that I don't know is them.
That happens to me a lot because I'm usually listening to Star Trek music. I learn a lot about the popular music that's out there because I work with kids in schools who tell me all about it and are shocked when they have to inform me about things, but that's all right.
Yeah, it happens. So,
all right.
So
episode 2?
We've got the 2 stories going on. We got Gwyn on Solon, and then we've got Voyager at the wormhole. And this is the first time we meet our mystery orb.
Which we learn later, and apologies for the spoiler listeners if you ignored our warnings earlier, which we learn later is Wesley Crusher.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what's funny is my girls, when that pops up, immediately one of them goes, that's Chakotay. And the other one goes, yeah, I don't think it's Chakotay. And it was so interesting. Yeah. They both had complete opposite reactions to it. So then I'm like, all right, well, then if it's not Chakotay, who do you think it is? And then it was, well, it's somebody new. It's somebody we don't know yet. And I was like, well, that is a distinct possibility. And it very well could be. And then my husband in the background is mouthing me, Wesley Crusher. And I was like, yeah, good call. So,
oh, he hadn't seen it. He was guessing.
Yeah, he hadn't seen it.
I watched it. Okay.
First time through just me, and he's watching now with.
And that's how you know that he's not just tolerating Star Trek for your benefit. Yeah. He actually does, in fact.
Yeah.
Get into it
he's
too.
Not nearly the level I am, but one of the things that I was saying when we were talking about Discovery ending is that he was not in my life when any of the old Star Trek was premiering. Like I met him after Enterprise was done, after even most of the Kelvin movies. So like this new era of Star Trek and being able to watch it with him as it comes out and theorize and all that has been really nice. And it's, our whole family is doing it now. And that's it's a really cool thing that I'm glad I got the opportunity to have.
That is awesome.
Yeah, it's really fun. He's a Lower Deck fan, number one, though, but.
Well, yes.
It was one of he was on my short list, right? Like I had a feeling like we're talking about time travel and all that. You always have to put them in there, but it was, I was not for sure until, and this is in later episodes we're not really talking about, but when I saw those crumbling, slightly fallen statues of the travelers, I was like, oh, I'm so right. And I loved that because this series multiple times has gone through and given us clues that us real deep nerds will get before everybody else. And that's just like a cherry on top of a sundae. It's just a treat.
So I don't know why it didn't occur to me that it would be Wesley, but it didn't. And I was like, yes. But, okay, he's really scruffy. And I know this is getting into the next bits of episodes. I'm not entirely happy with how he's presented, but that's okay. I won't get into that now.
The fact that sweaters and Star Trek knitwear get a dozen mentions, I don't care what else Wesley is or is not doing. That made me so happy I could live off that high for a year.
That was good. That was good.
I mean, the puns in this season are amazing. I mean, we'll get to that when we're in the rescue part too, but I love that humor that's in here. And the humor this season is it's varied. I can just leave it at that. You've got, the body humor and, the silly kid humor with burps and stuff and drool and all that. You've got wordplay humor with all the puns and all that. You've got, jokes that are just funny. You've got embarrassment.
There's puns.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
That
is
painful. No, it's good.
It's so great.
In a good way. Yes. Painful in a good way. Yes.
Sorry to ruffle any feathers.
Time for us to fly the coop.
That was a good one.
And the fact that Chakotay has.
We need to get that bird in the air. No, not that bird.
I love that they're putting so many types of humor in this, though. So, like, whatever it is that really is your type of humor, especially for kids, you're going to find something in this series that is going to make you laugh because it's going to be your brand of humor. And that, I feel like that has to be really intentional, too, because you're trying to grab these kids in all these different ways. And it's funny to them and to us in different ways, but it all works.
Yeah.
All right. So are we going to Solom for a minute here?
Yeah. Okay. I was just about to bring up that we meet, we find out that the diviner has a name. I don't know. We didn't get the name before, did we? Ilthurian? This was new. Yeah. And
is it Ilthurian or Iltheron? Like
Iltheron.
Okay.
Iltheron, excuse me. I added an extra
because
I for no
Solemn and Solom are said differently throughout the season by different characters too. So I mean, I'm all about regional accents and all that too. But I wanted to call out that, if you say it one way or the other, characters say both of those things slightly differently.
I think they all say Iltheron though.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that was me. I have a tendency to add I's when I see an AN at the end of a word.
All right.
Blame French class.
Okay. So the two parts of Solom I have to put out here. One, oh my God, Solom is probably the most beautiful planet we have been to in a long time. It is everything my aesthetic. It's the geometry plus the curlicues. It's all the layers. Everything's shiny. Their clothes, like the leaders. I don't know if they're emperors, council people, presidents, whatever those two high council people are, with the masks that like cover their eyes and like all the different ways that they do their hair braid tentacle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not quite sure what those are, but they're all different. Nobody's wearing the same thing. The chambers, like Solom is so pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Solom is so pretty. And like the floors are cool. Like that was one of my girls when they're looking down at the chamber and the first time Gwyn is in there and she's like, that's a cool floor. I'm like, oh, I know, it really is. They really thought about it, and it carries through like everywhere you go on Solom. It is so consistent, and it is, I love it. The one thing I'm going to say is that the guards and their helmets, I wonder if it's good to have guards with no peripheral vision.
Yep.
Like,
or even frontal vision.
Right? And later on, we see Majel Vulcan nerve pinch through their armor. So, I mean, either Vulcan nerve pinches are that strong or their armor is that wussy. But I don't care because they look really cool.
Yeah.
And it's very distinct from anything else we've seen before, which I also really appreciate. And it would have cost millions to make those costumes and sets in real life, so put it in the animation.
My first thought with those masks and combined with the Valnikat dreadlocks or whatever, I'm not sure if they are dreadlocks. They might. I don't even know if it's hair. But it is that it reminds me a bit of the Wraith from Stargate Atlantis.
Mm-hmm.
If
I can
either of
I
you
could see that. Yeah.
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, you know, I like when you can see inspiration from other places too, and that callback, it's kind of fun. I'm gonna think about that next time I watch that now.
Because like some of like the Wraith like foot soldiers, like not like any of the like the big baddies, but like their foot soldiers wear masks that completely cover their face like that.
Well, and I have to say, in a lot of sci-fi and fantasy, there are not nearly enough helmets or masks or things that would protect your head in battles. Like, and I get it because we would like to see the faces of the people who we know, so we could know where they are in all of this kerfuffle. But I am appreciating the fact that they actually had helmets that looked like they could keep them safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what's up with why do the members of the council have masks that appear to completely obscure their vision.
They were all different, though. It could have been indicative of position or seniority, or
maybe they're trying to not be persuaded by visuals. They're just listening with their hearts. I don't know.
Maybe they like the green.
I would also love a deep dive into how the heirlooms work.
Yes.
And what kind of what is kinetic, psychokinetic thing they have going on with that, and it's that was so cool.
Well, and I'm wondering, like, it seemed almost like they were saying we don't see kid Valnikat, so like, is Gwyn the only progeny? Like, what they defied the order to make the progeny, we know that from season 1, but was that just like, we're not going to have kids till we figure this all out, or like, do they not have kids like that, or like, do they not age? Maybe right. Well, but they have to, because we see Ilteron and the Diviner look different as they get older. But is that because he took part of him out to make Gwyn? Like,
that might be because he has to do like that like
the tubes.
Yeah.
And is that tubey stuff like the blue stuff that glows on them when they are doing their heirlooms?
And what is the blue stuff that glows on them? What's up with that? Yeah.
And Gwyn took in the Diviner's blue stuff when he died, it seemed like. So does that do something? Like, we need a lot more into
We need
Valnikat.
A novel about the Valnikat.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Yeah.
And perhaps a biology textbook. But it's cool because it makes you think about all this stuff. You know, you're really you're into it enough to go, okay, I want to know how this works. And that's a fun thing too.
Yes.
And I like that Gwyn goes to her father. She's not sure. Like, this could go really well or really poorly, but it was her best bet. And he is everything she wanted him to be season 1, and he wasn't. And we see that over and over again in these first 5 episodes. And how he's still got that sense of wonder, and that he's a stargazer. He's an astronomer. Like, that is such an interesting connection and really brings a depth to his character. And I really like that. He's stuck in observing the stars on a planet that doesn't care. And
I love the nature versus nurture thing that they have going on in this season, and the fact that they're showing that it is nurture, because we've got younger Essentia and younger Iltheron both shocked and appalled at what their future incarnations would do, and saying we could never do that. And I love that. I love showing that. I love it when Star Trek and other things show that no one is truly evil. It's just what you become. But yeah.
And that you can make different choices. You know, and that's important too. Like, if you see a future that you don't like or you don't want, then make different choices.
Yeah.
That's a good lesson too.
What a concept. Don't have to change. You don't have to go back in time to change the past if you recognize that right now is the past for the future. Something.
There's a big knot.
There's a time.
That wonderful time. Exactly. The timey-wimey headache of time travel. Well, and I would like to point out here, and I've heard other people point this out as well, that when Janeway is talking and she's like, oh man, if, there's one thing I know about time travel, it's not to be messed with. And my first instinct was, really? Because that's how you got home. but that's okay. We'll forgive it.
Well, I mean, that doesn't mean it's not to be messed with.
True.
The rest of the time.
That's true. It's because it worked out well for me once.
Yeah. The idea of that fight to the death that proves that she's a Valnikat was an interesting one too, because that, I mean, I didn't. The first time I watched it, I was like, "What is going on here?" And then the second time, I was like, "Okay, I get the idea behind it," but having it be a fight to the death on a kids show kind of threw me off.
Well, but was it really a fight to the death? Because Gwen figured it out. She realized, I don't have to fight you. I just have to get out of here before you get out of here.
That's true. Yeah.
And I kind of liked that. Like, they both assumed it right away that this is a fight to the death, because they didn't tell them any rules. They said the test is for you to figure out. This is something that they haven't done in millennia too. So nice that their little pit is all fresh and ready to go after a millennia. But I like that Gwen thought her way out. She's like, I don't have to fight you to save Solon. I just have to get out of here before you. I just have to leave you behind. And that's an interesting thought for kids to chew on too. And
I have a bit of a problem, not with Gwen coming up with her idea to get out, but with how it failed her. So, why does she fall if she's no longer interacting physically with the world? She shouldn't be affected by the pull of gravity either.
Well, there's still... Okay, well, that's the same question as, like, in the episode of TNG with...
Next phase, when they don't go through the...
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Well, no, but here's the thing. She is basically in this case, she is falling through the floor.
She's phasing, yeah.
Yeah. But she's only falling through the... But she's not falling through the floor, but she's not able to... She's not able to hold on to the things on the wall, and she falls. But she doesn't fall through the floor at the base of the pit. Yeah. So, like, there's... My mind is like, this isn't adding up.
See, I think I'm hand-waving it by saying she's in between. So, like, when she's actually physically here, gravity will impact her the same way that it would any other time. And then when she's not physically here, maybe that's why she falls slower, and she still has enough control over the heirloom metal stuff, whatever it is that makes the heirlooms, to catch herself in it. And then after that, I'm not sure, but that's what I'm going for. Like, the rules of the universe are weird because she's phasing in and out of it. Yeah, it's as good as anything.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. That was kind of where I was going with it, was even if she's not completely there, she's still she's existing somewhere, because the timeline where she exists is still there. It's just disconnected. Or it's just Wesley.
Yeah, that could be too. And I mean, I've never existed and not existed at the same time, so I'm not quite sure how that works.
Fair. I have to say the same.
Well, and I would also like to throw in here while we're talking about this, and we've kind of gone from all the stuff that's happening on Solom in 2 and in episode 3 here. But my littlest one is very concerned that Gwen had to give up her heirloom before this. She's like, when is she going to get it back? Essentia took it? What? When is she getting her heirloom back? And every episode we started after that, she was like, is this the one where she gets it back? That's how she helps keep herself safe. Is this the one where she gets it back? And I'm like, I'm not going to tell you. She's like, Mom. I'm like, no, I'm not telling you. But it's such a part of Gwen that she's very concerned about this.
Okay, so did you binge the show by yourself and now you're watching it with your kids?
Yes, mostly. They kind of flitted in and out. My little one would occasionally like pop over my shoulder and watch while I was on headphones and stuff. And she was like, I don't know what's going on. I'm like, because you can't hear it and we're in the middle of the story. And she's like, well, I just see pretty things and I'm excited to watch. So we are halfway through, the girls and I. Yeah, but I did the whole thing the first day. And then we did the first 2 that first night because... So yeah, I watched 22 episodes of Star Trek in one day.
That sounds like a pretty good day to me.
That is a good day. Yep.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Back at Solum, one of the other things I had to say about this, when Essentia comes up from the pit, and she's obviously the winner, the way that we hear Iltheron say, oh no, like that was one of those heartbreaking moments that line and the way it's delivered is going to live rent-free in my head forever. Like the amount of power behind those 2 words was intense and said so much. Said so much. And showed you how different he was from the Diviner, from his, later incarnation, because that would not have come out the same way.
No. Right, so we get going back into the wormhole, okay, and Dahl decides that the best way to deal with the fact that Nova Squadron found out about the Infinity being in the imaginary Shuttle Bay 3 is to move it to a different shuttle bay.
Yeah, because nobody's going to find it there.
Nobody's going to notice
I appreciate that everyone else is like, Dahl, this is a terrible plan.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
A cockamamie plan, even. He'll allow that one.
Yes. Good word.
Yes.
Good word.
Well, and I like the fact that this feels like a Dahl plan gone wrong, right? Like, there's all these people, everybody's just trying to do something, and it ends up being Jenkum's forehead that accidentally launches the ship. So later on, when they're like, is it Dahl? Well, it was Dahl, but it wasn't Dahl. It was, that seems like a bunch of kids who know they have to do something, but they're not quite sure what. So they're going to do whatever comes into their mind. I mean, some of them fall off the back of the shuttle. Like that is a Dahl plan, right? But it's also interesting. I like how, because then you have just Majel left with them, which I really like too. That dynamic is so powerful throughout this season. And it makes sense why we would have the 2 groups that we end up with separated. They like literally fell off the shuttle. And that's just such a realistic moment. Like things did not go at all the way they planned because they didn't really have a plan. And now let's deal with it because that's life too.
But that was beautiful. So we know that they're not supposed to launch Infinity. This is a bit of the time travel thing that is just the time travel, the timey-wimey stuff, right? You could not possibly launch Infinity and wait until after, sit in orbit cloaked until after Chakotay launches the Protostar and then pick him up. Just to make sure. You could get there 3 hours early, and just watch with your cloak. But no, everything has to happen after. It's fine. So this screws up everything.
But it turns out it had to happen, so it was all good. And that's part of what I like about time travel stuff. When you realize that these paradoxes and these twists and turns and loops and all this are really important and supposed to be there, and it feels complete then. And that's just such a neat thing about time travel that I personally really always like. Yeah.
So that brings us actually into episode 3, when Majel. Zero suggests they're the ones who send the Protostar back. And Majel is like, oh, yes, this wouldn't be the first example of a causal time loop in Starfleet history. And then she name drops the Bell riots and the Cochrane warp test. Okay.
Yes.
Cochrane warp test, I'm okay with her knowing about because, like, she's Vulcan, and that's probably one of the things, like, oh god, the humans are so stupid, this is what happened. But the Bell riots, nobody's supposed to know about that.
Well, Boimler knows about, Mariner and Boimler know about them because they reference them in those old scientists.
They do.
She does reference it, and I'm trying to remember. Yeah, she references it in that context of time travel.
You cannot possibly tell me that no one else except Dax and Rom ever noticed that the photo of Gabriel Bell looks exactly like Benjamin. Was it Nog?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was Nog, yeah. But yeah. So, okay. No, I don't think that, but I just feel like that's kind of
like it had to have come out at some point, I think.
Yeah. I don't like that, because that's the kind of thing that, like, Starfleet would really want to keep under wraps, because otherwise you're creating a situation where officers are going to be like, see, this is a thing that I need to do because of X, Y, and Z.
I mean, that was basically the message in Temporal Mechanics 101, which I found fascinating. This introduction to temporal mechanics for cadets.
Don't do it, but if you have to.
It's telling you, if you have to go back in time, here's how you... I'm like, really? Is this really what we're doing?
All right, but my girls thought Temporal Mechanics 101 was the funniest joke of the entire first chunk of the season. Like, every time it came up, they're laughing and eye-rolling, and then, like, I know we're not there yet, but we'll talk when they get to Dal gets the pad, like, they were thrilled. Like, that was a joke that worked for the kids. It worked for me. Like, I will forgive some of the other stuff because that was such a nice through line.
Yeah, that was cute. I haven't read it yet. So. Speaking of reading things, right? I'm behind on my Trek reading, and I have just this week been reading the Seven novel, the name of which just fell out of my head.
Yes.
From a few months ago.
Firewall?
Firewall.
Yeah, Firewall. Yeah.
I have not read that one yet.
I haven't gotten to that. I've done my reading for the camping trip coming up.
Awesome. I am so glad that I ended up procrastinating on that, because some of these people who are on the Voyager A are on, is it the Daedalus with her?
Cool.
So we get to see her first officer and the grumpy doctor.
That makes sense, since David Mack was a consultant really cool. in season 1 of Prodigy.
Cool. That is cool. Something to look forward to.
Yeah. Sometimes procrastination turns out okay. Right. So they get into they end up in the past, or they end up in the future. Excuse me. It's 2437, and then they end up in the same electrified jail cell as Chakotay and Adrik.
And here come the bird puns. And they take Jankum's hand, or his mitt.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful how he did that.
Yeah. And I knew once they did that something was going to come of it. And my younger one was like, they can't take his hand. You can't just pop somebody's hand. He's not a Lego. I'm like, no, but it's his mitt. It's got stuff in it. She's like, Yeah. She was not okay with it. But then when he started like thinging around with it later, they were both just like, oh, that's amazing. It's like thing. I'm like, yeah, that was smart. That was smart. When he goes on the cracked tricorder to do it, and they're like, you can't do that with this. And he goes, Jankum politely disagrees. I'm like, I'm going to hear that thrown back at me a lot of times in my life coming up.
Well...
So I love that they call themselves the Galactic Traders, and that later on, he'll be like, you look like some Galactic Traders I met. Like
Raiders is what they actually say.
Sorry,
yes.
Raiders, yes.
I love that Chakotay clearly knows that they're making that up, and he just goes with it, but says it sarcastically every time. He's like,
yeah.
I'm surprised that some Galactic Raiders
would care about any of this.
Yeah.
Well, and they both know that each group of them knows things they're not telling each other, but you're in a tough spot. And you know what? The fact that he trusts them enough to like bring them into the plan is the beginning of that really nice Dal Chakotay relationship that we get to see this season. And I really like that. Because I mean, the first thing Dal says to him is nice tattoo. Like, that's not the best. I mean, it's hilarious, but it's not the best foot to start out on. And then where they get to by the end of all this, and some of the moments that they have in between is it's really nice to see this positive male mentorship dynamic. And it starts here with Chakotay being willing to trust them. And that's a very Chakotay kind of thing. And later on, when we see, different versions of Chakotay and times of Chakotay, that's always there. It might be under the surface and he might be pushing it off, but it's always there. And I like that part of Chakotay. He's never been like a character that super resonated with me or one of my favorites, but he has so many good moments in this season of Prodigy, more than he ever had in Voyager.
I was going to say, Chakotay is better in Prodigy than he was in Voyager.
100%. 100%. And it starts right here with you seeing him in command and being willing to like get them in as part of this. And I love it.
Okay, so this is going to sound strange, but because the bird puns were funny, that's good. But did anybody else feel like it was a little bit racist in the context?
Oh, I hadn't thought about that, but yeah, it could be.
Okay.
Yeah, you're right.
But
you're right.
I mean, like, that's totally, I'm sure not what they intended at all. But it just felt like that, like, oh. Okay.
I think if it had come from somebody who wasn't Jankum, it would have felt like that more.
Yes.
But Jankum is sarcastic and he's Tellarite. So like it feels more like just him as opposed to a prejudice, but I could definitely see that read on it.
Yeah. No, that works because Chakotay at the end is kind of like, because he doesn't go with it and he's like, oh, you got to admit that last one's good. But yeah. I don't know. I'm gonna blame Rick and Morty on that one because there's a character called Bird Person, and there's like this whole thing about.
In bird culture, this is considered a dick move.
So I think I read a drink into Bird Person people, and then says as opposed to Star Trek people. It's just kind of funny, but
I do like that. At the one point, Chakotay is like, "You have to admit that was a good one."
Yeah, it's so funny.
Yeah, which is kind of what makes me go, okay, so it's not racist, but it kind of feels like it. So,
which reminds me of actually the first episode of Voyager, actually, when Paris is making racist Indian jokes and Chakotay is just sort of rolling with it.
Yeah.
Wrong tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's appreciated. All right, so then we get into the next episode, and we've been kind of jumping around a little bit. We have the message to Gwyn that she needs to stay present because the group needs to be together.
Yes.
More Wesley.
Some foreshadowing there.
And at the very beginning, when Murph is talking to who we know now later is Wesley, and it looks kind of like Future Guy.
It
like
does. Is Wesley Future Guy?
I might be okay with that.
I texted that because I was watching these after he was done, and I was like, "Why is Murph talking to Future Guy?" And then I decided in between that Murph was Future Guy and he was talking to his future self.
Ooh, but, I am totally down with Murph being Future Guy.
Would Murph not make a great traveler when it's all said and done?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I like the fact that Murph seems to absorb everything everyone else is saying, even though he can't be understood back most of the time. And like when they do that whole part about like, how did all this happen with time paradoxes and this and that? And they're just like, oh, temporal shielding. And you see Murph give this little like half shrug, like, yeah, okay, whatever. Like if that's how Murph is going to react to time travel stuff, then yeah, make Murph a traveler for sure.
You know, you bringing that up and talking earlier about how Murph is really the kid here. That's true of kids. Kids hear all of this stuff. Kids, they know more what's going on than adults give them credit for, even if they don't necessarily have the capacity to verbalize these things that they're learning about. That just hit me. That's good connection. Yeah.
Well, and so much of these are the kids. I mean, Dallas eavesdropping. He falls through the ceiling at one point because kids just want to know and they want to figure it out. They want to put the pieces together. And I think kids are, well, all people are apt to jump to conclusions or fill in holes with what they already know. So it's important to have more that you do know so that you can fill those holes in correctly. And I think that's something they realize too. They're always looking for more information, for more data, asking questions. That's one of the things I love about the series is the kids ask questions all the time. And that's exactly what kids do and exactly what you should do.
Mm-hmm. And adults should do that more than they do.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
If you don't know something, it's okay to ask.
There's a line from one of the novels. Spock says to Chekhov, I'm not going to be able to bring it up verbatim, but it's something to the effect of fill the gaps in your knowledge with data rather than hastening to conjecture.
That's
and
cool.
I stuck that up on the door of my office. I love it. Yep.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right. They talk about getting back to where Gwyn is, and Majel apparently has she knows about time travel stuff because
she's read Temporal Mechanics 101.
Yeah. Yeah. And so that was like, okay. And then we get Aaron McDonald's video. That was so cool. I'm so happy for her that she got to be that. I can't imagine what she was feeling with that.
Yeah, she had a cameo at the end of last season, but this is a whole other
That's
level.
right, yeah.
And she did some of the explanatory videos that went up on the Star Trek and Paramount Plus YouTube channel about the original Prodigy episodes. We watched all of those. Like, my girls know her. And, like, so when she popped on, they went, "Oh, Dr. Aaron!" And it was exactly what those were designed to do. It worked. They remembered her. They take her as a scientific authority. It was laid out both audially and visually in a way for kids to understand. It had humor in it. It had references galore. I would like to see the entire video. Like, I don't want to just see the beginning of chapter 1 and 5. Please give me the rest of it, because I would listen to Dr. Aaron talk science to me all the time. And
absolutely,
that was such a beautiful moment and such a nice, easy way to get time travel as, we know we got to talk about some of this, and here's some of those big questions. So doink, 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 check, check, check. Here's where we're going to say, you know what? And if you can't figure it out, it's timey-wimey. So just let it go.
Yep.
Hand wave it away.
All you need to know.
Yep. Right. Well, and I like too how we know that there's time travel involved in getting all of our people back from the protostar launching with Chakotay, and we're seeing Gwyn get into her little spiral, her little message from Wesley later on, where she sees, the mysterious space spiral that ends up being the rock and the tattoo and all that, like, good stuff. Like, it's so nice to see them working parallel, because in this episode, by the time they get to the end, they're back together, and you see how, like, those pieces of time and story come back together like that, and that connects to what you're seeing in Dr. Aaron's video. And it's just, this is a really tight episode, and I feel like this is going to be a hard season to pick out episodes that you like to watch individually, because there's story chunks, but this is one I think you could go back to, and as long as you know what happened beforehand, you could watch this as its own 22-minute chunk and be totally cool with it, because the story is pretty, it's self-contained in a way that some of the other episodes of this season aren't. And that's nice too, sometimes, to have a little breather from the longer chunks.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I love that poor Jankum in this one, right?
Oh, I
Where they're
know.
like, what if we told you don't have to fix the ship and make it fly? We just have to take it somewhere. And, like, where did they get that crane that they put it down in the pit with? But we'll just say that they did some, after hours junkyard scavenging back on Solom there for that. But I love when later on they're like, "Okay, Jacob, we got to make this fly," and he's like, "Wait, excuse me?
You said we did not have to fly.
You told me I didn't have to fix it." Yeah, like the poor Jacob, his head's about to explode right there, and that's nice to see too, because we know Jankum as Tellarite, and in this season he is, in the beginning of it, much more restrained, and to see him trying so hard, that is such a good lesson for kids too. Like, he's thinking things he's not saying, and that's life right there. Well, and I really like too that they have a Parallels reference in this one when they're talking about how Parallels is one of my top 10 episodes of TNG. Like, I love that episode. It blew my mind the first time I saw it when I was 14.
Oh, yeah.
I've never gotten over that initial moment of, oh my God, that was the best hour I've spent in a long time. And I love that it's getting a shout out and some love, because that's right up my alley. Love that episode.
See, that is not one of my favorites. I love the story, but it's uncomfortable to watch. So I think I'm not like huge on watching
it. Is it because Troy and Worf are married?
Oh, she's just still scarred from the Battle of Haros on the painting.
Yeah. It's I mean, that's part of it, but within the context, it's like, okay, fine, that's what was going on at the time. But I have trouble wrapping my head around 3 years later, the Borg is everywhere, and somehow you're on a starship, but you can't find time to shave. So,
if the Borg are everywhere, how are they still alive at all?
Right.
Yeah.
It didn't make sense. And the only way I've been able to reconcile that was like, okay, we have a little bit of time travel here, and that's actually not 3.5 years later or however long it is. But that bothers me, and it just, I mean, it's not, I don't hate it or anything. It's just not high on my rewatch list. But
what are your thoughts on the very tiny, shiny napkin that they used to cover Geordi's junk?
That is a choice.
It is a choice. Yep.
However, LeVar Burton obviously had been working out, so we'll just...
Oh, yeah.
I'm not
I hope they told him many months before, you might want to prep for this. You're going to have a nearly nude scene.
Oh, God, yeah. Oh, but there is a reference, and it's actually kind of ongoing to one of my favorite episodes that a lot of people don't like, which is Times Arrow.
I love Times Arrow.
With the phase discriminator. Yeah, I know. Mm-hmm. I know you do. I know you guys. I don't know why people don't like it, but whatever.
Well, you either love Twain or hate Twain.
Yeah, I think that's it. It's Twain, but right. So because there's the phase discriminator connection and the Times Arrow connection, Abby, have you read Coda?
Mm-hmm.
You read? Okay. Did you get the same vibes from this? Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay. Good. Okay. Because I mean, this feels like it was lined up to actually be one of the timelines that Wesley was dealing with that we just didn't read about in Coda.
Yeah, it did feel that kind of.
And the Loom are just the Davidians in a different form, and I love was
that. Getting big Coda meets the MCU show Loki vibes.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet.
Because Loki is also about unraveling timelines and such.
And you have the same characters in a very different form. Like, is it Alligator Loki?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Interesting. Well, you know what? Time travel is my flavor, so I'll take it.
I love when Star Trek does time travel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It is high up there. And, I love the fact that the temporal wars are being referenced in modern Trek over and over and over again. And please, somebody out there, can we have more of that, however that comes? Because I want that so deeply.
Give us a Kovich-led Star Trek Daniels.
Yes, 100%. I would watch that. Yeah. Or a series of shorts, like
miniseries. Yeah.
Just pop them in. Do a miniseries where 6 episodes are different times, and each one is its own self-contained little. I would 100%. As if I'm not going to watch all the Star Trek anyway.
Original idea for Discovery.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So So we have that. We have Majel and Zero. I had to write in here Majel and Zero flirting logically.
I love it.
Adorable.
So cute.
They're absolutely adorable.
Yeah. So. One of my girls was like, oh, Zero's getting a sweetie. I was like, yes, Zero's getting a sweetie, because sweet is exactly how to describe what's between them. It is so just innocent and pure, and they just admire each other, and they like being around each other, and the fact that they can hear each other, like, oh, that's just it's lovely. It's just lovely.
And it's also this whole thing about she's trained not to be emotional about things, and we see cracks in that, which is beautiful. And he can't feel things,
Yeah.
And he also can't, he feels things emotionally, but he can't feel things physically. And then you get that shift over, and it's just there's a lot of poetry there that I love. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and there's a lot of like talking about the having a physical body and having that sensation kind of parallels how Gwyn is fritzing, and like Jankum keeps calling them a ghost, and there's a ghost helping us. Gwyn is like a ghost. Like you get the great "I'm a doctor, not an exorcist" line in there. There's a lot of great doctor lines in there, but I think it's interesting to talk and look at how those two storylines kind of go throughout this season, and I'm sure you'll talk about that more as we get further on to the Zero storyline. But it's really nicely set up in these first 5, both the Zero wanting more tangible physical things, and this relationship with Majel. Like it really blossoms later on. So good job setting it up here.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, and we see in this one, this is the one where Dal is hugging Gwyn after they get her back, which is a cool move, by the way. Like zipping through time to the same place, just different year. Very slick.
Yeah.
Love that.
Yep.
Shortest distance is time. But we get that nice hug with like Dal is holding Gwyn up to his chest and talking to her, and like before she kind of passes out on the bed. Like those are moments between people who've been through stuff together where you can trust and have that closeness. And she gets some of that with her father as she's laying there before they show up to save her. Like they're really vulnerable with each other here, and it's a nice thing to see, and it's a nice to see that relationship modeled for kids too, that like you can have had a rough start and you can come back together after that, and it's okay to be vulnerable with people that you know and care about.
Yeah.
So, that jumps us into the next episode.
Yes.
I haven't seen a crew this dysfunctional since the Cerritos.
I love that line much.
And the way he said it.
Yeah.
Cerritos.
Now, the question is he going to be in an episode of season 5?
And that's what I was wondering. There's a bit of foreshadowing. That would be really cool if he was.
Yeah, because I know they do... it could just be a throwaway line. That is absolutely possible. Yeah. But we know that the different writers' rooms get to read the scripts from each other's shows, so they aren't stepping on toes and are coordinating and whatnot. So it is entirely possible. I could see Mike McMahon wanting to do an episode with the Doctor. Absolutely. Yeah,
or even just a few minutes. Actually, I would love to see him and... Why can I never remember the Tellarite doctor's name?
Dr. Noam?
Noam and Miglimo have a conversation. The three of them. Can you imagine what that would be like?
I want that now.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. That would be amazing.
Yeah. I just want Miglimo to talk to either one of them. Because it would be
well, yes.
I want to know what kind of food he tells them they are.
Yeah.
Do you think Miglimo and Adric are same species?
Oh, maybe. No reason why not.
There's something to think about.
Yeah. Are they the same species as the bird people that...
Peanut Hamper?
Yeah. Miglimo's not, because there would have been a connection there.
I believe Adric is the bird people from animated series.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
I was kind of hoping he'd be a Xindi avian, but...
The Aurelians, yes, who are the Xindi avians are extinct.
Yeah, well, timey-wimey.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
The Aurelians are the ones from the animated series, and they previously had shown up in Lower Decks in the Embarrassment of Duplers. They're the birds that have the house in the Arboretum. Move to the Arboretum, he said. It'll be quiet, he said. And then Miglimo, I don't know if we know Miglimo's species.
I'm just looking and it says unnamed on Memory Alpha.
There is a Memory Alpha article titled Miglimo's species.
Nice.
To be filled in later.
A type of ornithoid humanoid.
Well, Well, whatever they end up being, we have the debriefs, which led to the Cerritos reference, which
God, I love that.
Those were so 100% little bits of character joy in there. And like Murph doing all his Murphiness, because, who would leave a message with Murph, which I thought was hilarious, by the way. And later on when Wesley's like, well, I tried to do it in ways that most people wouldn't understand. And, the spirals, the dreams, Murph, whatever. But
we had conversations. He's very foul.
Yeah. That's funny too. Yeah. But poor Rock. And she's like, why is my mouth dry? Do you have any water? I was just going on my record like, oh, Rock, I feel you so deeply. Poor thing. And I like how when they're done with it all, Janeway's response to the crew is, yeah, they did this and they made this mistake. But you know what? You were all willing to be part of this mission 48 hours ago. Hello. So don't act like this wasn't going to happen one way or the other. There's a little dose of Janeway realism in there.
I love how we've gotten moments like that now with this group. We've got it with the Strange New Worlds group, and we've got it with some of the Discovery group. And it's just, it is, the Strange New Worlds one and this one are funny. I don't think there's anything funny in the Discovery one. A little bit at the end. I'm trying to think, because it's the one where they're debriefing at the end of season 2. But the connection of needing something to drink, and then last time I did this. Oh well, yeah.
Reno's
that Discovery
funny.
Reno's is funny.
There were
that.
snacks.
See, I was thinking of
last time we did this. I had snacks.
Yeah, which connects beautifully. And then I was trying to figure out with Janeway pouring. I assume that was like a creamer into the coffee before handing it to Dahl, and he's like, this is so much better with sugar. And the first time I watched it, I was like, is he saying that what he has now is bad because it doesn't have sugar? And then the second time I watched it, I was like, did she pour creamer in it and that made it sweet and not as strong, and so now he likes it? So I totally am overthinking that.
It could be a sweetened creamer.
Yeah.
That's what I took it as. I just think it's hilarious. And I love how many coffee jokes there are throughout this whole season, and like the mud water and everything.
Yes. He's like, I'm going to have my mud water.
Well, and another great food reference in this one, when they're realizing Murph has an answer and they're trying to translate and the Talaxian burrito joke comes up. I would also like to know now what's in a Talaxian burrito. I have the cookbook. I think there needs to be an addendum. There's always that. But yes, I would like to know the recipe for a Talaxian burrito, and we could substitute something else for Leola wrote. Though, who knows? Maybe we'd actually all like it.
Ginger is good.
Ginger is good.
Not to eat in large bites, but it's
I wouldn't recommend eating ginger in large bites, but, to each your own.
So I love how we get into this. They've been trying to figure out Murph's language this whole time. Just kind of behind the scenes.
Well, of course Rock would be.
Well, yeah. And of course, Gwyn would be, because she's the translator. She had been serving as a translator.
Yeah, what's fascinating is that Murph appears to understand their language.
So why can't he recreate it?
Yeah.
Well, and I wonder, is this the first time that when Murph steals all the napkins and food bits and stuff and makes the spiral, is this the first time Murph has tried to do this? Is this the first time that's crossed Murph's mind? Is there drawing somewhere? He's got, I don't know. I think that would have been an avenue I would have explored. Having worked with people who were nonverbal before, sometimes you can get things out other ways. But I mean, plot, and either way, it was hilarious.
Yeah. And he was able to sing in the holodeck in season 1.
Yeah.
No, he lip synced. They even say that he can lip sync convincingly.
Oh,
okay.
My girls love that episode. I have watched it dozens of times.
All right.
It is a good episode.
It is a good episode.
It is.
So that when they're like, well, Murph can sing, and they're like, or lip sync, pretty well. So
he does. I mean, when they get I guess when they get the universal translator on him, it's the universal translator that's saying those, because it's not him saying. It's not. He's saying it, but it's the translation. So
yeah.
So I was about to say he can, but interesting.
I don't know if we're going to call it Murph-made or Murmurf. We've been saying Murmurf around here, but
I like Murph-made.
My God.
I love.
I like Murph-made too.
Murph-made, I think, works better.
Yeah, it rolls off the tongue easier, but Yeah, either way, what a cool moment. And I love that Jillian had been eavesdropping by the time they get to Rox to be like, come on, you got to help us figure this out. Like, that was just a perfect scene. And of course, Rock is going to have the breakthrough. And I love that they even say, ooh, this is where she started to get the breakthrough. Like, they go to her because she's smart. And that's wonderful.
I think it's very convenient that the numbers of the coordinates weren't mixed up, like the letters
were.
Yes, yeah. I thought that too.
Yeah, or maybe they were, because maybe they were supposed to take her to where Wesley is or something, and it it glitched and she saw the other thing. But
maybe.
When they started writing the letters out before they got them all in there, I was like, ooh, is that going to say the word define? Are we defining something? Oh, never mind. It says find me.
Yeah. No,
once we got them all up there, and I was like, oh, that could be real. Oh, never mind. But yeah, that was such a neat scene, a nice way to figure it out. It's like a bunch of puzzles. I love that they wrote on the window. I hope they erased it before they left, but
Yeah, dry erase marker.
Yeah, exactly. I like how Jillian the Whale was put in there, not just to be, hey, cetacean ops, oh, hey, this is a friend for Rock. She has actual plot points throughout this season, and we see that for the first time here. And that is just really neat to not just have it be something for all of us. Like, this is a legit, real plot moving situation.
Was anybody, were either of you reminded of Goblet of Fire? Listening to things underwater.
Oh, I wasn't, but now
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
I was thinking of Star Trek 4, the whale probe.
Well, of course, but yeah.
Yeah. No, I like that connection too.
But no, that does make sense, yeah.
And another connection, not to another series I made, but when Gwyn does her little armband and zips off to her future moment, it felt very Red Angel-like to me. Like when Michael's going through the time vortex. And it even almost had that moment of silence at the beginning, not as much as it did in Discovery, but enough that I was like, ooh, that's cool. And the music in that scene, can we just call out the music in general? Like the callbacks that they did when we first see the Voyager, and they have like the theme that's almost the theme because they can't really quote the theme because, he's expensive. But the music in this episode is amazing. And nowhere more than when Gwyn is doing that time travel to the spiral thing. It is distinctly beautiful. I cannot wait for this soundtrack. Hopefully we will get it sooner than we have other modern Star Trek soundtracks that we don't even have yet. It's my soapbox there.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, they all get, put under, not quite locked in their quarters. And the doctor, I love how the doctor tries to, like, be a mentor. He's the emergency mentorship program.
What is the nature of the mentorship emergency? And he's everywhere.
Yeah. So this is a very minor technical complaint here.
I know what you're going to say.
Disappearing and reappearing all over the ship while wearing his mobile emitter?
Yes.
I've thought that too.
Excellent question. Microtransporter.
I mean, sure,
no,
but they've already established the ship has holographic emitters all over.
Everywhere.
Well, I guess technically they will, in a future episode, establish the ship has holographic emitters everywhere. So it would make more sense if it was like on Voyager, where he only wears the emitter when he's not in a holographic area.
Yeah. I don't disagree.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that has not been explained to Prodigy viewers who would not know that. So,
and maybe there's some sort of tweak with him now. Like it's been years since we've seen it. Maybe they've figured something out and they've allowed it to. I don't know. Yeah, just like at one point they said Voyager had 29 decks, and then somebody went to deck 32 and a turbo lift, and you're just like, oh well. I mean, but those are the things that we then watch for and appreciate and love because we're obsessive nerds. So I'm okay with it.
It is also possible that he considers the emitter to be like part of himself. So even when he's not actually wearing it, he still
the design has
makes
it on.
one.
Ooh, that's a point. I don't know if I feel like that's the kind of thing that you would never take off, even if you're in a holographic environment, unless you have to, because you don't know where you're going to end up.
I mean, but he always did on Voyager. He never wore it in sickbay.
Yeah, but that was what, how many years prior?
And
Almost
again,
a decade?
it doesn't actually make, because if your holographic program can disappear and reappear everywhere, but that emitter is not holographic, it wouldn't.
No.
A microtransporter, sure, but do they even have microtransporters?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because that's a future
First thing
thing.
that came to mind. Yeah.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Third season, they'll explain it all.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Sure,
For
they
sure.
will. All right, so Flippin' Jellicoe calls then? Or we have more? Yeah. Okay.
That's where I was about to go and point out the thing in my notes that I said was going to have a completely different context here, because Janeway goes into her office and ponders upon Chakotay's Akuchi Moya rock.
Yeah, you're never going to look at that the same way again.
I'm thinking of that.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Every time he says that now in Voyager, I'm going to be like...
Yep.
But that whole shelf is just... You want to talk about Janeway in a nutshell. And like I said, Aaron Welke confirmed that the little red circle thing is from Indiana, from Bloomington, Indiana, her hometown. Okay, the silver spider is Arachnia, right? We're all agreed on this?
Yes.
Like, I don't think that's been confirmed anywhere,
What else
but like
could
it has to be. And it's in black and white. Like, it's a silver spider. Come on, it's
Sure,
Arachnia,
yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah.
and her original comm badge, her diploma, like the little compact, which was in one of the books. Like, this was just... If you didn't know Janeway, you know her a little bit better now. And if you do know Janeway, your heart is full. And that was just a really nice moment. And like when they all stood on the bridge as she walks into her ready room and knows that she's going to have to declare, that this fire, we're going to have to collapse all this. Chakotay is going to be done and gone. So she thinks like the way that the crew stands up and just gives her that support and how she keeps herself together till she's on the other side of the door. And then we see her have that like moment where she just kind of is like, and all that emotion comes out and she walks to the shelf. That's a moment I really like. Modern Star Trek has been doing that, especially with their female leaders. They're giving them a moment to be strong and to compartmentalize, but then they're also showing them still feel it. And then have that moment where they let themselves have that deep feeling. Michael did that when we thought Book was dead, She's standing on the bridge. And you have those moments. And I think that is so vital for kids to see. Like, these are the people, they're in charge. They're holding it together. They're keeping themselves contained to do what they need to do. But it doesn't mean they're not feeling it. And you have to be able to have that and then pull it back and say, I will come back to this later. But to show that both of those are there at the same time again, what a lesson for kids. Over and over again, Prodigy is showing them you can feel and think and have all these at the same time, and it's okay and it's normal. And even the big people in charge who supposedly know all the answers have these moments. That was so beautiful. So beautiful.
Absolutely.
I pulled this up and paused it because I hadn't looked at what else was on the shelf. And the photo of her with the dog that we see.
With Mark cropped out.
Throughout the entirety of, yes.
That made me laugh. I'm like, we know he was in the original, so, all right.
And
we're done with him, aren't we?
Yeah.
Well, he couldn't wait. That's his problem.
I suppose his. But yeah, like that whole shelf and that whole scene is so just fills your heart in so many ways. And I like that was almost the end of this, but it wasn't the very end, that they had that little bit. So like, you don't go out on that heavy heart, you go out on the spiral as a map, but you have that moment. And I mean, when you think about the crew standing for her, that support, that silent support, that again is showing you, you can be vulnerable around people you know and trust and care about, and it's okay. Yeah.
And they should be there for you. If they're not supporting you, that's, they shouldn't be there.
Correct. Do we want I have so many more things to say, but they go into like the next chunk, which is so hard, I'm like,
I know.
I'm sorry, we can't have you on for every chunk, but
no, and I wouldn't expect it. The fact that you are letting me come on here and have this discussion with you for both bookends is so glorious. So thank you again.
Seemed to make sense,
Yeah.
So.
Well, if there's anyone out there who has kids in their lives, like obviously the way to get season 3, we've been told, is to stream it as much as you can. These first 4 weeks, the month of July, get everyone to watch it. Like I know I got one of my daughter's good friends and her family watching. I told my dad, now is the time to catch up on Prodigy. Like get it out there, people. And this is such... people going, well, I don't know if it's a kid's show. It is, but it's also a grown-up show. This is a family show. This is a Star Trek show. Like, this is wonderful. Share it with everyone you know. We want to do this more.
This touches on something that I do want to talk about. I said this some when we were watching season 1. This show really seems more geared for adult fans of Star Trek to show to their kids than for kids necessarily to watch it on their own. Like I don't
discover,
I even on Netflix, I think this is still going to be more people like you, Abby, watching it with your kids than it is someone whose kids just turn on Netflix to the kids' profile to watch something that I think they're less likely to turn this on.
But I do think there's kids like we're kids like us. Kids who are looking for big ideas, who are fascinated by science fiction and fantasy and other worlds and time travel and all that. And I think those kids will find it because they're looking for stuff like that. And especially if now that it's on Netflix and it's trending on a bunch of the charts, like it's popping up on top 10 lists or top of kids or best sci-fi and stuff. Let's hope that does happen. And let's hope that somebody capitalized on the merch end of it. Because if you want kids to get into it and stay into it, you got to give them stuff. And that sounds so capitalistic, but it's
got to be better than a $57 popcorn bowl.
Well, isn't most anything. But like, my girls have all the figurines, right? They play with them. They have adventures. They're wonderful. I have a friend who makes little toys and dolls and stuff, who made us a rock and made us a Murph before there was a Murph toy, because that's who they wanted. I'm going to commission her when I see her next week to make a new Murph, the Ninja Bread Murph, as my girls call it, to make a Magelle. I got out my old Janeway doll from way back that doesn't fit size-wise at all, but that's okay. Like, I'm going to ask her to make a Bribble. Like, if this isn't going to be made for them, I would like them to still have them. This is the kind of stuff that they love. I mean, they got Janeway shirts and Dal shirts and rock shirts from way back when. And my little one is so glad she grew into the Janeway shirt of my older one because she's into it. And they have this and they want to do it. They've got their Prodigy shirts with Murph on them from Chicago. They wear out, they tell people, this is how kids discover stuff from each other. So if you want this to be discovered, you've got to put stuff out there for them to naturally start this conversation. So fingers crossed. People listening, tell all the kids in your lives to go watch this and talk to their friends about it. Please.
I've tried to get for my niece and nephew, but my sister doesn't think they'll like it, so she hasn't even tried.
Oh. Yeah. I wonder how people felt about the Star Wars cartoons, if it was a similar type of thing, because I just wasn't paying attention to it at the time. If it was, this is Star Wars for kids, but it's for adults to introduce their kids to Star Wars kind of thing.
Well, I think for any franchise
I don't know.
that is decades old, there's going to be some of that because that's just the nature of the beast. And when you have long-term fans,
I've seen some of the Star Wars, the Star Wars animated, and it definitely feels that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean,
just curious.
It's a different time now. People aren't going to be introduced to stuff the way that we were because the way we watch and consume things isn't the same. So we've got to find all those other ways of doing it.
I mean, when I was watching it, Star Trek was one of 5 choices that I could watch at any given time. I mean...
Well, I remember when I was watching it, I couldn't have every episode whenever I wanted it.
Well,
like that's not how it worked. And once I got old enough to like control a little bit of VCR power, I would do that. But I remember Times Squared was the last TNG episode I ever saw because I missed it in original broadcasting because of a baseball game or something. And it took years. Like kids don't understand that now. Like you can't always get the whole story the way that we had it, but now you can. You can have the whole story right now, and you can have the bits of the story that you want over and over again. And that's a different model, but it doesn't make it any less enjoyable. It doesn't make it any harder to take in. In fact, I think it's easier in a way.
When I rewatched TNG in the 2010s, there were a couple episodes that I'm pretty sure I had never seen before.
Yeah, it's interesting. Well, and I was just going to say, if you live in the Midwest like Chrissy and I do, you know that sports will preempt whatever else.
Oh, it happened here too.
Yeah, and it was just like, oh my God, I don't care what the Brewers are doing.
I saw the second half of so many DS9 episodes.
We're returning to our programming already in progress.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or you would start your VCR on the extended play tape at like 10 p.m. and just let it run the entire time, hoping that somewhere in there you'd get it all. Yeah.
I always tell this story, and it's really it sounds terribly petty of me, but I still will tell the story. I had over the course of the late 90s and I had gotten almost every episode of Next Gen recorded on a VHS, right? And season 1 was the one I was missing the most of. And I had 3 more episodes that were going to be aired, that I was all set up. I'm like, okay, once I get these, I'm going to have every episode of Next Gen on a VHS. I can watch whenever I want. They're out of order, some of them, but it's okay.
I had a spreadsheet on mine. I get that.
Oh yeah, me too.
Yeah.
The last.
Oh yeah, I did too.
Yeah, these 3 episodes that I was missing, and I think it was it was the middle of season 1, but whatever. They were set to air the week of September 11th.
Oh no.
So, yeah. So this is why I say this is really petty of me, because once I got past the, oh my God, this terrible thing that's happened, my first thought was, oh, there's going to be news on those channels. I'm not going to be able to get my episodes of Star Trek. It was just terrible of me. Yeah. So there you go. Call me petty and terrible, but
a year or 2 after that, they started showing them endlessly on I think it was TNN. So you probably got them then, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Well, by that time,
the DVDs were out by then.
Batch of DVDs had started to come out, so I didn't bother anymore after that. But yeah, that was of all things that are irrelevant to what actually happened with that. Me being mad that there was going to be news on. Anyway. Send comments to the goddess Livia.
So, similarly, not quite as petty as yours. I was recording Voyager in syndication when I was in high school. So, a year or 2 after your TNG fiasco. Because I was in 9th grade.
Because that's what it is.
I was in 9th grade when September 11th happened. I think I was doing this in 10th grade. So it was like a year later, actually. Our local UPN was showing Voyager at 1 a.m. every night. And I was recording every episode in order on tapes, and it was going to be great. I was going to have the complete set. It was going to be in order. They stopped halfway through season 7. They just stopped showing it.
Oh.
Mean.
Yeah. Yeah. Mean. That's like when BBC America used to run random episodes of the original series, and they would always show the first part of Menagerie and then just show something else, just randomly. What's wrong with you? Yeah.
In my brief attempt at college, there was a local channel on the TV that every Saturday night at 11 p.m. would show a TNG 2-parter.
Oh, that's
kind of cool. And, me being me, I wasn't doing anything more exciting in college at 11 p.m. on Saturday. So.
Oh, no, I would be right there, yeah. It's parties, what? I didn't have those.
Probably should have, concentrated more on my work than watching Star Trek, and then I would have been in college for more than a semester, but that's a whole other thing.
College is not for everybody, so don't beat yourself up.
Nothing is. Everybody's different. Infinite diversity and infinite combinations, right?
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
There's a nice segue to the wrap-up for you.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I think in our roundabout way, as we usually do, and more roundabout when we're talking about 5 episodes at once.
And when you're talking to me, we tend to long.
That's all right.
This will be fun to edit. I think we've covered most everything that happens in the first 5 episodes of Prodigy. Do either of you have anything else you want to mention?
No.
I'm excited to come back and talk to you guys at the end of it all and be able to say all the things that I didn't say today because I knew I was going to. And thank you for letting me know that now so that I knew I could do that later. that helped. That helped.
I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
All right, we've mentioned all of my notes. So then, listeners, thank you so much for staying with us through this ramble.
We appreciate you.
Abby, thank you so much for joining us today. Where can our listeners find you online if they want to hear more rambling?
Oh, and yes, you can definitely hear me talk. I do a Enterprise podcast. We are rewatching all the episodes of Enterprise in succession. It's called First Flight, and I do it with my lovely co-host Chris. We are about a third of the way into season 3 right now, so it is the juicy stuff. Lots of those arboreals that we saw coming up, so it's a good time. And you can find us on all the places you find your normal podcasts and all of the social places that you normally look for places, Facebook, Blue Sky, Twitter, I'm forgetting a bunch. All those places. You can find us at First Flight Pod. And if you want to find me, I'm Abby M. Sommer, Sommer, which people make fun of me saying it, but it's not spelled like the season, so it's important. And I hang around mostly on Twitter. I'm trying to do some more on Blue Sky. It's easier in the summer when I can just keep one platform updated, but, there we go. And I'll be back here to talk to you guys in a few more weeks about the end of it all, which is exciting.
Indeed. Chrissy, where can people find you when you're not drooling all over the floor?
Can't say that's something I've done, but okay. Well, maybe
better than catching your friend's drool in your cupped hands, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
That's true.
Well, yes, in addition to here on Infinite Diversity, you can find me on History with the Szilagys here on the BQN, and that is that twice weekly short history podcast I do with my fellow historian partner, Jason. This episode will be dropping the week after Independence Day, and for this week, we had an extra long episode where I went through the Declaration of Independence and explained it. And I've been unpleasantly but unsurprised at the amount of people who've told me that the Declaration was never explained to them in school, so hey, if you've never had the Declaration explained to you, there it is.
I had to memorize it, but I don't think we ever, went over it.
Yeah, I know a lot of people who had to memorize it, but they didn't understand what they were saying, in the context. So, which, I have to say, I don't think I got that until grad school, so whatever. But, right, I'm also happy to chat about our shows in the BQN Collective on Facebook and in the Discord and all the other places where we talk about these things. I'm on the various socials as the Goddess Livia, and you can see there my opinions about Star Trek history and leftist politics. Thad, where can people find you when you're not trying to figure out how to better hide a ship that is already cloaked?
Well, obviously move it to another shuttle bay. It's the only choice.
I mean, that's just
best place to find me is probably still on Twitter. I'm ride or die till the end, I guess. I am at Tyrannicus, that's Tyranicus. I am also on most of the other socials where people who left Twitter have gone to. And I cross-post some, but Twitter is still, unfortunately, my one true love.
It's okay. It's okay.
You can also hear me on the podcast I do with my friend Carl called License to Spiel. That's license spelled with a C like the British do it, where we started out talking about James Bond movies, and now we just talk about other movies and shows that we like to watch.
Okay, and don't forget about all of our other great shows here on the BQN. Here's a recording of Amy to tell you all about them.
What shows are on BQN, you ask? Well, here's a rundown of some podcasts you might be interested in. All Good Things, a Star Trek Universe podcast covering all of Trek, hosted by Amy, Mark, Christos, Kelvin, and Kristen. Whether you've got Xbox or Nintendo, check out Bargain Bin Gamer, a YouTube show hosted by Davey, a self-proclaimed gamer who specializes in reviewing and showcasing affordable video games. 2 episodes enter the arena, 1 comes out victorious. Join hosts Joe and Kevin, and a guest, as they debate which should win the Batleth battle. Grab your popcorn as you listen to Cinema Z, a film discussion and review podcast showcasing films you probably missed but should definitely check out, hosted by Mark and Matt. Don your apron for The Food Replicator, where Matthew eats and drinks his way through the Star Trek cocktail and 3 cookbooks. Beam aboard Galaxy Class, a Star Trek Next Generation podcast covering all of TNG, hosted by Steven. In order to not repeat it, listen to History with the Szilagys, a snippet of historical events from around the world, hosted by Chrissie and Jason. For the newest Trek coverage, check out Infinite Diversity, hosted by Chrissie and Thad. Curl up with a good book and delve into Beta Canon with Peter, host of the online Trek Book Club on Twitter, and his new companion, Trek Book Club podcast. Test your Trek knowledge with Treksperts Quiz, a Star Trek quiz show hosted and written by Davey. Whether you're a member of Starfleet Federation or Planetary Union, go check out Union Federation, covering current Star Trek and the Orville, which we all know is really a Trek show, hosted by Kyle, Kevin, Amy, and Haley. Head over to YouTube and watch The View Screen live on Sundays, your Trek-inspired talk show hosted by Kelvin and Amy, with Season 2 starting in September for a 10-week run. Spill the tea with Christos while he discusses current Trek news and events and explores the world of fandom via guest interviews, all with a LGBTQIA+ perspective on What's the Tea-Bab. And for our Patreon members, we have The Hive Mind with monthly script readings, Let's Fly, a Discovery reaction show, It's Green, a cornucopia of topics, Amy's Math Moments, a quick look at math moments in Star Trek. We know you have a choice of podcasts to choose from, and we thank you for listening to BQN. Assimilate the audio.
Thanks, Past Amy. Thank you very much for tuning in to Infinite Diversity. Thank you to Zach Tripp for your wonderful theme music, and Mark Wright for your awesome show art. Please subscribe in your favorite podcast player, and don't forget to rate and review us there as well.
And if you'd like to reach out, you can find the network on the various socials at BQN Podcasts, or our show specifically at IDIC Podcast. And you can talk about any and all of the BQN podcasts in that Facebook group, the BQN Collective, and on our Discord. And when you next hear from us, we'll be talking about the next few episodes of Prodigy. Next 5, I think, is what we have lined up.
Yes.
So until then, we bid you peace and long life.
It's been a couple weeks since we last came into your ears, and okay, that sounded wrong, but
I wasn't gonna say it. I was gonna just let it go. But if you, nope.
It just sounds messy now. See where my cheeks hurt when we're done with these?
Sorry,
Yep,
I broke myself.
No, that's all right.